Okay, that was quite a day. It's about 4:15 p.m. on Tuesday, January 28th, West Coast time. If you're watching this on TikTok, I normally do these videos over on our other video platform. There's a link in the link tree in my bio. Please go follow us on that platform because TikTok is going to be gone in 2 months. And even if it's not totally gone, it's never going to be the same again. It's not the same now. So I post a lot of other content over on that other page that people who only follow me on TikTok do not see, including the video that I'm going to record right now, which I normally only post over there. But I figured it's been a busy few days. I'll post one here so that everybody on TikTok can see what I'm doing on my other page. So let's dive in. New Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. I call this Daily Hawk. So if you like this, subscribe to the page, click like, leave a comment, yada, 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 all that other stuff. In his first act as Secretary of Defense, he issued some kind of a proclamation. So he's head of the Department of Defense. He issued some kind of proclamation or something that said DOD does not equal DEI. Apparently it does equal DUI, though. Get it? Because he's a drunk. And then today he pulled the security detail for former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and wants to take one of his stars because he undermined the chain of command, because he criticized Donald Trump and said he is a globulous, corpulent protuberance and a fascist. Something, I'm paraphrasing. The big news of the day, a federal judge has placed an administrative stay on the memo or order that came out of Office of Management and Budget that would have frozen all federal grants and loans totaling trillions of dollars, which threw the entire country into complete disarray, all while Donald Trump was playing golf with Republican House members down at Doral near Mar-a-Lago. So whatever. The White House. So today was the first press conference with the new White House press secretary. I don't remember her, Carolyn Leavitt. She did a great job. She started off by saying that the Constitution is unconstitutional. Birthright citizenship, which is explicitly in the 14th Amendment. She said that that is unconstitutional. You know, she also said that undocumented immigrants are criminals. There is no criminal statute making it a crime to live in the United States as an undocumented immigrant. Instead, the law treats that as a civil violation. So she's wrong on both of those things. But she said the second thing about all undocumented immigrants are criminals because the Trump administration said, we're only going to start the mass deportations with violent criminals. Violent criminals. And if someone's a violent criminal and has been convicted of a violent crime, chances are pretty good that person's in jail, whether they were born here or not. But it turns out almost 50% of the people that the Trump administration has arrested and deported so far had no criminal records at all. And so when a reporter asked her about that, she was like, well, if you're here illegally, you're a criminal. And that is wrong on the law. So she's hitting it out of the park on day one. She's wrong on the Constitution and wrong on the law in her very first press conference. Trump fired a couple of Democrats on the National Labor Relations Board today, or independent federal commissions that have to do with labor. It's an unprecedented firing, but we're getting those every day now. So all of these people that Donald Trump is firing, unless they're political appointees, they're protected. If they're Senate confirmed, they're protected to some degree. It's just going to result in a ton of litigation. You know, there's going to be a lot of litigation because the courts are all we have, the lower federal courts, the district courts and the circuit courts, because Congress isn't going to do anything because Donald Trump owns Congress. The Supreme Court, I'm still pretty concerned about the Supreme Court. So we're going to be pinning a lot of hopes on the lower federal courts over the next year or so. Speaking of which, Donald Trump is now arguing that his immunity from criminal prosecution extends to his civil cases, for which, surprise, there is absolutely no precedent in favor of that. And in fact, all the precedent is in the other direction. So great work to Donald Trump and his legal team. Europe is collectively taking steps to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't take Greenland. I mean, like, what's he going to sneak in and put it in his jacket and sneak out? I mean, it's not moving anywhere. I don't know. So, but he's going to do a bunch of stupid shit with regard to Greenland. So we've got that to look forward to. Donald Trump is hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu next week at the White House on February 4th. I guess Bibi is coming to take personal delivery of those 2,000-pound bombs that the Biden administration never gave him because of how he was handling things inside the Gaza Strip. So third party and Jill Stein voters, you'll want to tune in and watch Trump host Benjamin Netanyahu as I'm sure they work out the details for their plan to clean out the Gaza Strip of Palestinians. You all should be very proud of yourselves for how you voted. Donald Trump hates CNN anchor Jim Acosta, who was CNN's White House reporter during Trump's first term. CNN, bending over in advance, sought to move Jim Acosta to a time slot of, I think it was midnight to 2 a.m. Jim Acosta said, "Screw you," and he resigned on air today. And Donald Trump was very happy about that, said it was good news, and called Jim Acosta one of the worst, most dishonest reporters in journalistic history because he told the truth about Fat Nixon. Donald Trump's perceived enemies are bracing for retribution. All the people who are on Kash Patel's enemies list that he published in his book, Government Gangsters, or some dipshit title like that. Folks are hiring lawyers, they're buying guns, they're carrying guns, they're hiring security details. Some of them are packing go bags in case they need to flee quickly. Yeah, so that's great. John F. Kennedy's daughter, Caroline Kennedy, who is first cousin to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was Robert F. Kennedy. Both of their dads were assassinated. She, up until 3 weeks ago, she was an ambassador. She was a U.S. ambassador. I think she was the ambassador to Japan. And because she was an ambassador, she had not spoken out publicly about RFK Jr. or his nominee to be Secretary of Health because she was still a government official. And she also doesn't like to talk about her family. She wrote a scathing letter to senators in both parties in which she said, I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets because he himself is a predator. She went on to describe occurrences of RFK Jr. putting baby chicks and mice in a blender to feed his hawks. And she spoke at length about his 12-year-long heroin addiction and how his basement and dorm room became a place where their friends and relatives found addiction and dependence, and some even found death. So let's put that guy in charge of our nationwide health system. Quote of the day from Steve Bannon: Trump doesn't give two fucks. This is what you're seeing. He doesn't care. He didn't care what they think about what the media thinks. They were going to put him in prison. He knows this. He doesn't give two fucks. So I guess that should have been his campaign slogan for 2024. Jack Smith about the story I was just talking about. Jack Smith has hired criminal defense counsel. Okay, here. Quote of the day from Dartmouth professor Brendan Nyhan, quoted in the New York Times. The level of anticipatory obedience from business, the corporate class, universities, and the media, ABC, CNN, is unlike anything I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I mean, it's like Target, Walmart doing away with their DEI programs. They were not ordered to do that. They're voluntarily doing that ahead of time. No one asked them to get rid of it. All these corporate tech guys put millions and millions of dollars into Donald Trump's inaugural fund. Didn't ask him to do that. They're bribing him. And here we go. Google announced its plans to update the name of Alaska's Mount Denali to Mount McKinley and the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America in Google Maps. Again, they weren't ordered to do that. They're doing it voluntarily, bending over ahead of time. It's just, you know, there was an exchange on CNN last night between Catherine Rampell, she's an economics financial reporter for the Washington Post, who is excellent. She's an excellent reporter. And Trump bootlicking fart huffer Scott Jennings. Jennings went off about the salute trutherism being outrageous, about Elon Musk's giving his heart to people. And Catherine Rampell was like, do it right now on TV. If you think that's a normal way to greet people, do it right now on TV. Why won't you do it, Scott? And of course, Scott didn't do it and sat there and said nothing. CNN pays him to go on their panel shows, knowing ahead of time that he's going to go on and lie. CNN pays Scott Jennings to go on their airways and lie, knowing that he's going to lie. So that's how much that's how much respect CNN has for its viewers. Okay, here we go. These are the ones I wanted to get to. So, yesterday, an Indiana man was fatally shot by a deputy during a traffic stop just days after he was pardoned by Donald Trump for January 6th. Deputy tried to arrest the man when an altercation took place, and the suspect and the officer, which resulted in the officer firing his weapon, fatally wounding the suspect. So we have a couple more of those coming up here. Let me find them. Pardoned January 6th rioter is now at large over allegation of soliciting a minor. And then we had January 6th riot defendant who was pardoned by Donald Trump from Citrus Heights, indicted on receipt of child pornography. So there's a theme here with J6ers and minors. Then there was, this isn't J6 specific, but it's Trump related. You remember back at the beginning of the Trump administration with Pizzagate? The pizza shop outside of DC, I think it was Comet Pizza, that Hillary Clinton was running a child sex trafficking ring out of their basement, and that pizza place didn't actually have a basement. Well, there was a guy named Edgar Madison Welch who went to Comet Pizza with an assault rifle to save the children and fired his assault rifle. Then he was arrested. He served 4 years in prison. No one was injured by his gunfire. Well, he was shot by police over the weekend and died from his injuries in North Carolina. There was also a traffic stop. There was also an altercation, and he was shot and killed. So these Trump conspiracy theorists and J6ers are dropping like flies, kids. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. The news continues to be a fire hose of stupid. There are going to be endless lawsuits and court actions in response to the things that Donald Trump is doing. I will do my best to stay on top of those things. Again, please click on the link in the link tree in my bio and go subscribe to my YouTube page. And it's free, doesn't cost anything to do that. because TikTok's going to be gone in 2 months. And if it's still here, it's going to suck. Even worse than it does now. Thank you for tuning into the Daily Hawk. I'll see you guys soon.